Hello and welcome to a book club for games. We are four lifelong friends who love to play games together, and we wanted a new way to game, so we decided to start a book club, but for games. Every month, we will choose one new game to play, and at the end of that month, we invite you all to join us in discussing that game. Everything will be up for discussion, from gameplay to sound design, business practices, or really anything else we can think about. So, without further ado, I'm Mitchell.
Kevin.
Terry.
Yeah.
Alright, and this month's game is 7 Days to End With You, picked by Jeffrey. So, why this game?
Well, I had to rep my. I'm part of an elite in group now called VTubers. So I saw some VTubers playing this, and I had to, show off my rep a little.
Okay. I didn't know
But
VTubers
also,
were playing it.
This is the kind of game.
Alright, so you want to give us a little bit background about how the game plays then? It's a pretty unique one, kind of hard to explain.
Well, it's pretty simple. Anyone who's played a visual novel, it's literally a visual novel with a very simple day-night cycle. It's time limited, and the unique aspect of it is that your character forgot, presumably their native language or whatever. So you have to, as a player, you have to type in your guesses at what words mean within the game, except it uses an in-game conlang constructed language as well. So you also, as a player, don't know what the symbols of the words. So you're filling in the spaces for an artificial language because your character also does.
The character doesn't know and you don't know. So it's an interesting game. So I know we normally like to start out with plot, but it's maybe a little more difficult because I think everyone can make up their own plot. But I don't know. Do we want to go in a circle? Terry, what was?
I feel like we should.
Guy?
Okay, before though, we should talk about what you just meant because that was pretty important.
Yeah. So a large part of this game, and it even opens up with this in English when you click new game, is that a large part of the story, because it's a constructed language and the meaning of the language is you have to puzzle it out yourself. The big selling point is the meaning of the story, and the story itself can change from person to person depending how each person sort of interprets the language. But I haven't talked to these guys, so I don't actually know if that's the case. We might have all come to similar conclusions, but
I believe there's a right way to do it, but there's wiggle room.
It's a very death of the author. Well, it's literally like death of the author taken to its extreme, where you have a work of art and it is completely, the meaning of it is shifts depending on the viewer. The meaning is completely up to your subjective interpretation.
One of the things I loved about it was actually it also shifts as you play it too. Like different viewers will get it, but then as you keep playing it, things just change. It changes the way you look at the situation when you translate a single word subtype. It does that a lot, which is really.
On top of that, it does the classic. So what Kevin's referring to is as you quote unquote learn the true meaning of a word, or roughly what a word actually represents. For example, your first playthrough, it's not immediately clear what many words will mean, but the more you replay it and the more you think about it, some words just kind of become more evident in what they mean, and then that colors. Before you might have thought this word means kill, now it means lives, and obviously that changes things very significantly. But on top of that, this game I don't know if you the other players encounter this, but this game also follows the standard visual novel design now, where playing multiple routes with different endings will color also your understanding of the previous.
I guess that's also a good question, is how many playthroughs did everyone do and how long did it take?
I did like I did like almost a hard to count number because to get certain endings like at the end, you kind of can just try a word and then you're like, oh, I don't know that word, and you can restart that day. But like total playthroughs, probably like six,
Like getting to the end, how many?
like 6 times. But sometimes you just blitz it like around once you kind of start understanding things, you kind of just blitz it, try kind of figure out other aspects.
I think I had 4. I had 4 real playthroughs.
Mhm.
And then I probably like played through quote unquote like 12 times trying to do different.
Mhm.
I probably had 2.5 playthroughs, and to be honest, I didn't really complete the game. Like I
What
did
do you
the
mean
2 full
really?
playthroughs on stream, and then I did the half playthrough. But then like halfway through that, the reason why it's a half playthrough is because halfway through it, my head was banging against the wall trying to figure out the language, and I was like, I just kind of wasn't
Well,
having fun and just
That's fair.
dropped.
I think you say you didn't complete the game, but you
I think
did.
you did.
You
Yeah.
did complete the game in your own way. That's the point. Even if you literally as a
Yeah,
player,
but then also in my own way, I felt like I didn't, because I know there are loose ends that I know I could solve,
Mm.
okay.
but I just chose not to.
Okay. But if you were a player who, let's say, only filled in 50% of the words, but you feel like you got, derived your own understandable story from it, that is the point of the game. I would say you completed it as long as you're.
But he wasn't, I guess.
It's
Yeah,
an
which is
interesting
why I
game.
said like, yeah,
Yeah.
which is why I'm saying
Yeah.
I would label myself someone who didn't actually complete. Like, yes, I finished like multiple run throughs, but I didn't actually complete a lot of like the puzzles that would lead you to
Mhm.
Yeah.
like other endings.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely one of those types. It's very much a puzzle game in a lot of ways, where like you definitely like can get frustrated, you stop, and then you come back and you're like, oh, okay, maybe it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel this will be an interesting discussion because I also feel that I failed this game. I only played through it once. It took me like 5. I played it on a phone actually. Caveat.
Mm.
It is on mobile, and I did get it on mobile. Would not recommend it on mobile just because.
It's a
Well,
type.
maybe depends on who you are. I actually thought the controls are fine, but sitting down for like 2 hours like straight on my phone is not something I normally do. Or if I do, it's like, no, I don't think I ever sit and like stare at my phone for longer than like 30-40 minutes at a time. So
Not even when you're
Should
playing
be-
Avengers Puzzle League.
don't play that anymore. And even then, you kind of look up and down. It's hard to. It's probably the modern media, social media, has probably fried my brain. But I can't stare at my phone for like 30-40 minutes. I can do it on a computer or a TV because that's how you're used to it. But
You're
hard to
my
focus.
opposite. I literally just spent like 2 hours earlier today playing a game.
yeah, I can't do that. So I had a little bit of trouble focusing. I only played through it once, and got to 5 or 6 hours. Like you said, you can complete it, but personally, I felt that
I think maybe we
could have
could
gotten
dive
more
into
out of
it
it.
then. Like,
I wanna
why do you feel
say,
that way?
This game actually is suited to the method of sit down for like 15-20 minutes, play, drop, pick up. I think part of it, Mitchell, was you were rushing to finish the game, maybe.
No, I don't like that though, because
really?
if you don't finish the day, it sets you back to the beginning of the day, and like I feel like I
but
wanted to,
finishing I get yeah, okay, no, I see your
because if you really if you're staring at it, a day can take you quite a while.
yeah, it can take you
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah,
Okay,
it-
okay, I
it-
see. I agree.
Um, but yeah.
So how many run throughs did you do though? You didn't.
I just finished.
did
I got
one.
to the ending once, and that was it.
Oh,
I did replay a couple days in there. Like I'd get halfway through and be like, okay, I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
I wanna say, Kevin, would you like to speak first before?
No, I was thinking maybe we'll go into order of you guys first to see what you interpreted.
I think I should go last.
Yeah, I think you should go last.
Oh, you want my interpretation?
Yeah, we want your interpretations first.
Okay,
But actually,
Because that's
do
the
you wanna-
beauty of the
No,
game.
let
Yeah.
me go first. Let me go first because I haven't played through it
Should
once.
go first.
Sure, go
Okay.
for it.
Now the reason I say it's a failure is because I didn't get shit. Essentially my story was a person who woke up in a random house, got a couple words, barely learned how to cook and some colors and numbers and days, was visited by strangers, and then
Mhm.
without even realizing he was gonna die, fucking died.
Oh my god, he was playing canonically. 99% of people would have
that's the
followed
first
that route.
playthrough. That's the first
Realist playthrough.
Dude. Wait, but how did you feel about the girl? I guess as you were playing.
Sorry, one more time.
How did you feel about the girl as you played?
No, I liked her because she seemed helpful, and she would like always like check with you and repeat things for you if you needed to. She seemed I didn't have enough words, but she seemed quite sad when I was dying, and I felt quite sad when I was dying. And yeah,
Okay. If
her
you
art
were
was
to
good
guess,
too.
her art was very simple and clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were
Copyright.
Utada, just copy strike us.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I think you can keep going on it. You just
No, that
that's
was
all
it,
you
but
felt. That's mainly what you felt.
she
What
was
did you
like-
feel in your heart.
It was kind of a melancholy
Mm.
story. I feel like it was two people who, I guess if you're really going into it, it was like two people who could have been like friends but couldn't really understood each other, and then one of them died, and yeah, that's most of what I got, which is why I feel I have failed this game.
I don't think that's. Do you think it was it enjoyable for your one playthrough though, or were you just
I had
confused?
moments.
Mm.
There were
But it was
Yeah.
just a pain, a haze of amnesia racked by.
Yeah, it really gets you in
The game
there,
is
right?
really immersive. Like I love these
Yeah.
types of games because they're super immersive.
It was super immersive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let Terry go next.
Okay. My interpretation is that your original body was once a war hero who went missing. You figure that out in the newspapers, and you are in fact a homunculi being cloned by the red-haired lady. And the reason why you only have 7 days to live is because you are a failed experiment. Because when you first wake up, she says, I think something along like, "Oh, you can't understand me. Oh, this must have been a failure," or something. And basically, my interpretation is that you were basically genetically created as a clone, and you're experiencing the world. And at the end of the 7th day, you like get put down because like you're unstable or whatever. And I got that from my second playthrough. Because if you watch me on stream, the first playthrough, the first time the stranger visits the house, I was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
I was freaking the fuck out, and I think the version where you choose to stay in the room instead of going
Yeah.
out to meet them, I believe the red-haired girl, at least my interpretation is the red-haired girl ends up taking her to the alchemy lab, taking the stranger to the alchemy lab and getting rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree.
I think yours is pretty close to what I had, but I think
Somewhat.
that yeah. But what did you? I guess
Yeah. And so like the bits and pieces I never figured out the last word you're supposed to say to her, or like one of the words that you're supposed to say here that can trigger a different ending. And I also didn't figure out the lockbox in the alchemy room. The black
you didn't figure out the
lockbox.
lockbox, and you came to this conclusion.
Yeah, I'm
Damn,
surprised.
bro. I'm surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never figured out the lockbox. I know it says the three words on the lockbox are the 3 tarot cards that are in the drawer. I just couldn't figure out what you're supposed to put as the answer.
You're gonna laugh when I tell you what happened
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my interpretation.
It is a little obvious though. Once you,
Yeah.
like one of those things,
I think that you actually I would not have. It took me a little longer than that to get to that interpretation of where you were.
Same.
Yeah. Do you have anything else, or do you want me to say what I?
No, that was the big one. That was like pretty much my interpretation of like who you are, why you're there, and why. At first, it seems very helpful, but then she gets like kind of creepy. Or not creepy.
Yeah.
It gets very unsettling.
No, yeah. Those, yeah, I agree totally. But yeah, okay. I guess I'll go. Basically, I'm gonna go through like my plate, like what happened in day by day, and then what I ended at. But like the first playthrough, yeah, pretty much what Mitchell said. You're fucking confused. I assumed you knew her though. I assumed she was like, Oh wait, no. My first playthrough was actually wild because I remember I figured out the lockbox on my first playthrough. So
What was
I
the
wow.
basically
lockbox?
yeah, I
Yeah,
got
on
pretty
in
lucky.
the alchemy room, in the bookshelf to the right of the frame, you
can
actually have to
touch it.
click the button that shifts the frame over.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's a black
There's a thing-
lockbox that if you click on it while she's with you,
Yeah,
she'll yell at you not to touch it. So you have
Yeah.
to specifically leave her in the kitchen, go up to the alchemy room,
Yeah.
and then interact with the
If
black
If
box.
you're
on the
wondering
shelf.
why there was the functionality for leaving her, is specifically because I don't think there's any other interaction with you not going around without her. It is
Mhm.
just that so you can open.
The other one is when you need to take a piss.
Yeah.
Oh. I
Yeah.
thought it was a piss, but I thought she just waited outside while she took.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, okay.
She
I
said
couldn't.
something
I
along
think
the
my
lines
first
of, like,
playthrough, I thought
like-
she was the one taking the piss. I was like, what? I was so
aw-
confused.
It's so awesome.
Same.
Yeah.
But if she eventually her line is something like "you go alone" or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, and
Anyways.
it's Also,
Or-
side note, it's interesting because the sprite is like 5 states, but in those 5 states are very important and expressive to understanding parts of things. They're pretty interesting.
I'm gonna enjoy talking about humans.
Yeah, but okay. So first playthrough, like on day 4, I actually opened the lockbox because I looked at her, and then up until that point, I was like, I felt like she was like, I thought you were like maybe like a past lover or something because she had the heart
Yeah.
in the drawing for you and stuff like that. So like, and then I kind of guessed a couple words that maybe I think the first playthrough you see what you want to see. So I
Yeah.
think like I kind of was like, yeah, I think that's what we are probably. And then like maybe I was like, you see yourself in the newspaper, and then you're like, oh, maybe like that's weird. And why am I in the newspaper? Am I famous or something? And then you kind of keep going. And then I got to the lockbox, and literally, Terry, you were trying to understand it. I was like, there's 5 letters. How many words with 5 words do I know?
Oh, I brute forced it.
And then I didn't brute force it because the first 5-letter word is your name.
yeah. It's
Oh.
it's your character's name.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
your
Wait,
name.
what is your name?
Yeah,
That was
It's
it's,
the
like the
5
second
characters.
word in the
She
list.
she
it's the second word in the list. Yeah.
she
There is
refers
a-
to you. She refers
was
to you
her
as,
name.
like-
No,
No,
there's
you
also
can
Oh,
see her
you're a
name in the-
loser. Her name is on
you
the
can see her
text
name
box.
in the text box, the classical thing of where it lists
Yeah.
the name of the person speaking in like every RPG or every
Yeah.
visual novel ever.
Yeah.
That's her name.
Oh, so the
Yeah.
The
4-letter
the
name is
4-letter
her?
word is
Yeah,
her
and
name.
Four-
5 is
Okay,
yours.
so 4-letter was for me was self, and 5-letter name was her name.
No, that's
you mixed
fair.
it.
That's fair. There's a
See, that would be something that changes your interpretation
Yeah,
significantly
exactly.
later once you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
realize.
and then yeah, because basically I looked at it. I was like, how many 5-letter words are there? Scrolled through. I'm like, there aren't that many. And I was like, okay, let's start at the top. It's like my name. I'm like, it's not gonna be my name. And then you put your name in, and you're like, chills when you put in your name and it opens. Then you go down, and then you see, I guess Terry hasn't seen it either. You see restraints. You see a bloody sword. You see a shield, and you see clothes, and it's like clearly it looks like either like a torture chamber or someone was kept.
You're
up.
missing the trap door above the restraints that has blood surrounding it.
Oh yeah, there's blood in a bunch of places too.
Sorry, trap door under the restraint.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. I think that was that a trap door. I just thought that was a drain.
I thought it was like a chute or like a trap.
Yeah, but yeah, and then I was like, wow, I'm horrified. And then you start realizing, I think in that playthrough, I also learned the word human. And then you go in her lab, and you're like, why are there human bones here, bro? What is this? And then you're like, bro, who are you? Are you like a serial killer? And I was actually freaked the fuck out
Very.
after. I was like, why is she? Yeah, I was like, wait, did she like? And then I was just kind of like, after that day, it was not happy anymore. And I finished
Kevin
the game, and I
never
was
the
kind of
same
scared.
again.
Yeah, I was kind of scared. And then on my second playthrough, I was like, I figured out some more stuff. And then it kind of reeled back as I started realizing like, oh, I think I didn't realize the conclusion Terry made for that you were a homunculus, which is kind of what I came to too, was that at the end, I think she says the word again a lot when you fail.
Yeah, she says
She says the
we'll
word
try
again.
Pretty much.
And I
try
didn't
again,
realize
yeah.
that was again. I thought it was something else. I thought it was like ready because she uses it like
Yeah, I
in
think I
certain
had something
sentences for
similar.
like are you ready? and then but she's actually saying, "Do you want me to say it again?"
Yeah, she's saying again.
And then once I got again, I was like, and then I was like, you can write in the book, right?
Yeah.
And then when you do multiple playthroughs, the writing stays. And I was like, but once
Also,
you get
I
the
think there's-
last,
Never mind. Keep going.
And then so I had a theory of like each playthrough is like actually continuous, but then getting the ending where you do say the right things kind of made me go, oh, maybe it's not. But basically, at a certain point, I realized I was under the conclusion that like you were her lover, and she's like lost you in a war, and you were some sort of war hero, like you said, and then she was trying to bring you back constantly. But people were also going missing, which was one of the other newspapers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think she was using those humans to bring you back to life. Classic alchemy stuff.
Mhm.
Also, that was a big thing. At first, I said science. I said chemistry.
Oh, I got
then I
alchemy.
realized
I got
science.
alchemy right away.
Yeah,
I got
alchemy right
chemistry
away.
because I didn't know what type of setting we were in. You know, there was a city out there,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, okay.
No,
Definitely
but when you look at the
science.
textbooks, in the
Yeah,
lab,
yeah.
you weren't like, this is clearly like an alchemy. kind of
Yeah, I wasn't in a fantastical state of mind, I think,
Uh-huh.
for a bit. But then you start also I realized at a certain point the letters actually line up. Like if it's a 3-letter word.
Yeah,
it's
so
a
the-
Yeah.
word.
The
Yeah.
main thing for the conlang that I figured out is the symbols don't actually by themselves match up to any individual letter.
Yeah, I
but
tried doing that.
within a word,
Yeah.
repeated symbols,
Yeah.
at least in English. This was one thing that I kept pondering on the streams was what happens when you switch languages. But at least in English,
Yeah.
it seems like repeated symbols within a certain phrase represent the same letter. Like
It-
good morning, all of the O's will share the same symbol from this constructed language.
I thought so
Yeah.
too, but then for like a minute, but then I actually took my time and looked through it during my like second playthrough, and I
Mhm.
realized that there's a lot of acceptances where it starts to break down. Like it's not
really?
yeah.
Really? I feel like the double letter almost always
Yeah, double.
Like maybe we had different
different interpretations.
interpretations of the
Yeah,
words, but
that makes sense.
I found much more once I dropped that idea, it was much more accurate, I feel. But obviously maybe I was completely off and my sentences just made sense.
Yeah. No, it's like some words like I was like I can't think of a word. It fits the context, but I couldn't think of a word of that many letters that fit in that way. I
Yeah.
get you, and I was like,
It took me forever to think of the word noon. I was like, what is this word that has repeated letters on the outside and repeated letters on the inside? There's only so many 4-letter words that can do
What
that.
really fucks you in the game is we're used to seeing words spaced out, and first of all, you have to keep in mind, okay, this is originally a Japanese game, so whatever assumptions you have about a one-to-one cipher to English is automatically thrown out the window. Because I assume the developer didn't go to the effort of making a symbolic conlang for every language.
No, but you
it's in.
you say that,
I
but
feel like they had to have
the
made it.
the
Yeah.
numbers 1 through 8, all
Yeah,
of the
all
colors,
Right.
English.
Yes.
like enough
Colors
of it
work too.
matched up. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the ones that are factually like this is supposed to represent 1, this is supposed to
Yeah.
represent 2, this is supposed to represent 3.
Yeah.
For instance, all of those lined up with
Lined
that
up with
theory
English.
of the symbols matching up.
TREE,
That-
right? Or GREEN.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tried
that
to
it,
use
like-
those letters to like construct the other ones, but I couldn't. Like I tried to use one for O and then you match
Yeah,
that
there's
letter
no
somewhere
rec-
else.
no.
It didn't work.
No relation.
I think it was probably some sort of cipher, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
But
smart
I think
enough for that.
what Jeff was about to say is the way the sentences are constructed is weird. Because
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it's constructed right to left, based if you have an English paradigm, like an English paradigm for language, where it's like the way we construct sentences in English, it's like flipped around completely, where it's like it's weird.
Verb, noun.
Yeah,
kinda
like the
Yeah.
subject
feel.
comes at on the right side of the sentence, for instance.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that probably fucked me up. Yeah.
but
But okay, before we get too far,
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, so was that your full understanding? Is there anything
okay.
else?
And then at the very end, I did get like I think what was a definitive ending when you say all the things in your like dying scene with her.
Mm.
And she basically it was pretty sad. You like it became so I went from like, oh, this is kind of nice and happy, then I was kind of horrified, and then it was very melancholy. So maybe you ended up in the same place, bro. But basically, as I was playing the game, I went from having a kind of go lucky happy ish to like kind of like horrified once I discovered the seller, to kind of understanding it better, and then realizing it was like kind of sad. And then I kind of had the understanding that she basically, at the true ending, she was basically kidnapping, I think, and killing people to bring you back to life for a short period of time over and over again, and interpreted it as like her past lover, that you guys were together. Because she does oftentimes like, yeah, you see the sadness, right? And like it felt very genuine to me as sadness when you go through it all. And the ending I got with all the right words was like you actually like you choke her out and she dies. So you end the cycle of I assume the cycle of this. And while you're doing it, he's like thank you for this is what I got. Like one. It be like that. But it was kind of like a I think the true ending options at the end too, they're in English. Like it's like end it all or like something like to keep going again. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. And it was like a pretty sad ending for me. But I was saying I think you kind of came to the exact same place. So it was a melancholy ending.
Very different ways of melancholy.
But yeah, I think that was pretty much the interpretation. I don't think it was very far off from what you said, Terry. I think I came to a similar place.
All right. And what did you get, Jeff?
So I'll do the same thing Kevin did. Where I talk about my playthrough. My first, and there are some slight but major differences in my interpretation. But the first playthrough, I thought she was like family or like my sister or something. But halfway through, I figured out that the photo stands for first meeting or something like that with the C, and that doesn't make sense if you're siblings. Like, so
hey stepsister.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so we're probably lovers. I had a pretty positive view of her even after the third playthrough. We'll get there. But in the first one, it was obviously positive. Even with the human bones, I was kind of like, the fantasy world, legally sourced human bones.
Yeah.
Probably a thing, right? But I didn't, yeah. But basically, the first playthrough was spent mainly. So I don't know how you guys use the color system. I used it extensively. The grouping for the words.
Oh yeah. I didn't use it at all. I kind of forgot it existed as
a color system.
Yes, you can.
You can tag
cards,
words. Yeah.
You can tag.
I had no idea. What the hell?
So basically, the first day was spent on adjectives and nouns. Nouns are blue, adjectives are green, and then I spent the next day parsing phrases. Second playthrough parsing phrases, because that's what really tripped me out. Remember earlier I said on the second playthrough, I was trying to do the cipher thing and it wasn't working, and I realized what really trips you up about it is that some of those long words aren't actually like one word. They're actually multiple words, but they look like one. That's what screws your understanding.
Like one of the earlier ones is like that you figure out is like good night is written as one word.
Exactly. The first playthrough, you find out basically you have to find out at some point that it means good night, and then from there you understand that, which is also on game design note, a beautiful organic way of teaching players that this can be multiple words.
Actually, technically, can't good night be spelled as one word? I feel like I've seen it.
It can.
I think most.
She says good morning is. You can.
As one.
But so basically, the second playthrough was spent on phrases and turns of phrase. So things like good morning, right, or good night. Things that are common. Some adverbs also in there. But basically, for one of my first and second playthrough, most of it was most of my playtime. It was just me sitting there looking at the screen, flicking through the memories, trying to just slam in the right word. I was very uncomfortable with proceeding until I got what I felt was a reasonably acceptable word. Even if it wasn't correct, that's fine. It just needed to make sense in the context of the memories I'd been given so far. So the first two playthroughs were very standard playthroughs, and I didn't just do the lockbox till the third playthrough. And that's when my understanding shifted. I didn't feel scared of her, though. I think because, first of all, even if she were a serial killer, you have no power. It's like my reaction in horror movies. It's like, bro, this guy's like an omnipotent 900-mile running man that can like punch your heart out. I'm dead. Fuck it. Like, so, and the other thing is just if she really wanted to kill you, she could have done it at any point in time before like the 7 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Your real fear is that you get tortured, but it just doesn't really line up with her actions unless she's, you know, it'd be a very specific kind of serial killer where it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna feed you and love you for 7 days, then I'm going to torture you, you know. And it's like,
definitely.
So I felt fine with her. Obviously, she was doing something really shady. I just need to figure out what it was and why. But by the third playthrough, I had almost all the words figured out at that point. There's a couple words that escape you because they only show up in like for example, I think protect or shield. I did for a lot of them. I did slash because I wasn't sure, right? And I'd put a question mark if I wasn't sure for a word.
Yeah.
So I did protect slash shield because you only get that one once you see the shield in the jail cell. But she mentions it again.
Yeah.
When in the confrontation, right, with the on night 5 with the strange. But that's beside the point. The main point is that I wasn't scared. So my first playthrough, I also had the same understanding as Terry, where you're a war hero who returned, maybe shell shocked or something, because you have that memory on like night 5 with the planes and the bombing, which clearly tells you, which clearly just gives you the meaning for the word war, and so I thought he was maybe a shell-shocked war hero who has amnesia and returned home and was getting cared for by his sister or his wife. And then the other 2 newspapers, I did not connect this one for a long time. There's the one newspaper where it says man disappears, right?
Yeah.
I assumed that was you. The war, if you look at the dates, war ends, then like 4 days later, man disappears. So I thought that was the player character disappearing. And then the other newspaper on the same date says alchemist disappears. Or sorry, not alchemist, the girl, right? The girl disappears. I didn't connect that girl is, or in my interpretation, that girl in the newspaper is the alchemist until later, because the appearances actually look different. Like the girl in the newspaper has like glasses.
I thought that you were the person in the newspaper.
There's 2. There's one that says man disappears and one that says
but with the face.
The one with the face, I thought that was your port. That was meant to be your portrait.
When you clicked on it, she said your name.
Oh yeah. So I mixed it up as well. In my initial understanding, I flipped my name with hers, and I thought it was her disappearing. So so I thought that she took us away and was caring for us in our amnesiac state. But then yeah, you are right. That the one with the picture of her face on it actually says you disappear. The player character disappears, which reinforces my theory that she was your like wife or something, because you wouldn't really think to put a sister's face on a picture of a man who disappears, right? Unless they were really known to be close or something. But arguably she is really famous. The other thing about it is it's likely that she's the one, I figured this out in the second playthrough, that she's the one who discovered alchemy because she has direct photo evidence of the origins of alchemy with that ruin, the picture of the temple ruins in the lab. So there's that. So maybe she is your sister and she's just really influential.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't interpret it as like the origin. I interpreted it as the ritual site.
But okay, yeah.
Yeah, but that's interesting.
Yeah, that was my interpretation. It was essentially because it would seem strange to have that picture. But maybe it was like a pilgrimage or something.
I think we interpret it differently, because I thought that picture was your face. Because for me, it said your name, and then when you looked in the mirror, it kind of looked like you. But I wasn't sure. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, I made that connection later. But the thing is, you're not the alchemist, so
yeah.
And this is also her home, so yeah. Regardless, that's a really, really minor detail. The bigger point is on the third playthrough, it came together. Especially once you did the ending where you don't choke her out. I don't know if any of you did it.
Yeah, I did.
But, I never found the right word to trigger that choice.
It was sin, I think.
Yeah, because you're telling her that on like the third choice or something on the death scene sequence, you say sin and she acknowledges that she committed a sin and should be punished. And then so basically that triggers her to ask you what she should do. Yeah. So then that's how you get to the choker ending, let her continue the cycle. But my interpretation is you're not a homunculus. I have two theories actually on this. First of all, if you do the don't choke her ending, she says, good morning again, like many meetings, 619 and something else. So the date on the calendar is June something, right? It's just the month of June with no markings on it. So there's two meanings here. 619. 619 could mean the 619th meeting, or it could mean she's telling you it's June 19th.
Yeah.
So if it's the 619th meaning or iteration, I take that to mean that you're a homunculus who has been created 619 times. But I feel like it's, first of all, that's a huge number. That's a huge number. Second of all, with the calendar, you know, being there, it just seems more sense after saying, oh, it's like good morning, we're meeting again, you know, and it's like, you know, this is like it's June 19th. So my interpretation is he's being revived over and over again. You've met many times. That's why the journal remains constant, which is something I found out as well in playthrough.
And then also, I think in the laboratory, one of the pages gets marked, I think, every time you do a new playthrough. That was one of the things I forgot to check. The paper with the dots.
There were some symbols, and there was always the same amount. I was trying to find something like that changed between playthroughs. Like I was hoping that if you kept going, the calendar would change or something else would change.
So
I couldn't find anything.
Treating it like a puzzle game, I had to treat all the elements like, why does the guy let you leave her in the room? That was the first big one, right? And it's like, this has to exist for a reason, right? Just like how you can use the journal. At first I was like, okay, this journal seems useless, but there has to be a reason for the journal. So I figured that out in playthrough 2, but it didn't make sense until until you figure out at the end. She's an alchemist who deals in biological sciences. You can tell from the homunculus jar in the alchemy lab of the experiment times with the small, medium, large. Yeah. The war ends. You have memories of the war, presumably. Whether or not you're a hero is up in the air, but you clearly participated in the war and came back damaged. She mentions as such during the stranger meeting in one of the routes. And you have amnesia. She tries to fix you, and she mentions in one of the endings during the death sequence that she tries to fix you, but the alchemy fails, and you forget words, essentially, is part of the alchemy failing. Which means, to me, she's reviving you every time with the alchemy, but the alchemy is not perfect. I think that's her literal words. It is not perfect. So, your real decision point at the end is, you can choke her out to end the cycle, or you can allow her to continue the cycle to keep going, which means, presumably, as we mentioned already before, now the understanding is that the man disappears at the same time that people in the cities are disappearing, which is probably when she's gathering experiments for use, which is why she feels like she should be punished, because she knows she's doing a bad thing, but she's using that research to revive you every time in hopes that she can make you whole again. And regarding the stranger sequence, I tried a lot to, because there's a word decision point. If you let her shoot the stranger and she takes them up to the lab, there is a word decision point, and that's the only one where I couldn't find, I didn't try very hard, but it's the only one where I couldn't find variations. There's actually quite a few variations in the death sequence. For example, when you tell her, like at the very end, if you tell her in the final words, you have a last choice, love, she'll tell you that, you know, it's generic kind of, oh, I love you, right? And I hope we meet again kind of thing. But if you say her name, it'll change it to something else, for example. And she'll be like really happy that you like remembered her name, for example.
I actually did not get that shoot sequence. That's kind of badass.
The shoot sequence is it's what happens if you choose to stay in the room instead of going out to confront them.
I did do that. I just did it. Actually only did that my first playthrough.
So there's two things. First of all, is you go out to protect her. Okay, so clearly the stranger is continuously pressing her on where you are. The stranger wants to ask what you are, wants to talk to you basically, for some reason. Maybe you're a war hero, or maybe just because you're missing, right? And then the alchemist continuously refuses her, and at one point she says, "Sorry, I'm going to search the house now." And then she says no. There's 2 exclamation marks here, very important.
Yeah.
And then you hear a loud bang, and then when you go out into the hallway, she's coming down from the stairs to the alchemy lab. That's where Terry's interpretation of she dragged the body to the
I didn't I interpreted it as her just slamming the door.
But then why would she go to the alchemy lab?
Yeah, I think I didn't think about it. Yeah.
I didn't realize that first playthrough either. I think I also hid. But the second one where you protect her and you come out, then she doesn't kill the stranger says, "Oh, is that him?" And then she's like, "Yes, but he can't talk, like mind damaged or something like that." And then the stranger's like, "Oh, okay, I guess we'll come back later." So I couldn't figure out that there's a word that I couldn't figure out any variations on that scene where she's coming down the stairs and you ask her. I like tried everything. I was like, "Oh, are you okay?" Or like, "Oh,
yeah,
like,
I know there's
death,
some like
right?" Or like, yeah.
I think I tried alchemy and it didn't do anything either.
Yeah. But that's my interpretation of the story.
Yeah, I could see revival too.
I think it's revival because of the continuous nature of the. Well, I guess some homunculus theory makes sense, but I'm just trying to make sense of her in the non-choke ending where you quote unquote wake up again and she says, "Oh, hello, many meetings," right? And it's like,
yeah,
I'm trying to piece that 619 in.
Because
the reason why I came to the homunculus ending was because I looked at the date that you go missing, or the date of the newspapers, and current day, it's about 9 months.
Yeah.
Which I presumed, I was like, oh, that's probably, like, in a world of alchemy, that's probably enough time for homunculi to develop.
Yeah.
So this is probably by the time you're coming in.
I think it was the first month of the year on the calendar, and it happened on like 6.
Because the month on the calendar is June, and I think obviously she could be lying.
Was it June? I thought it was January.
It said 6.
Wasn't it 1?
I thought it said 1.
Oh, did it say 1?
Okay. Yeah.
I thought the newspaper said like 5.
I think the newspaper said 5 or 6. And then
the newspaper said 5, and then you're at 1, so it's like 8 months ish.
I was hoping that if you played like 4 times.
I thought it said 6 on the calendar. I'm like fairly certain about this actually.
I was fairly certain on 1.
Yeah.
I think it was 1 because I misinterpreted 1 as day, and I was like, why does the top of the calendar say day? So I think it's day.
Also, me realizing that we use day both as time of day and day of the week, and like the date day. I actually had to mark those as
I
different.
think given the nature of the game and its flexible interpretation, I think reasonably you can come to 2 conclusions with all these clues, which is that yes, she's like a serial killer and she's constantly making homunculus trying to recreate someone, or she's still a serial killer, but she's constantly trying to bring back a specific person that she once loved, which I think is a little more generous.
I think the homunculus was you. I assume. I think in my brain I didn't fully flesh out what a homunculus is, but
I think my theory ended up being similar here, Chef, where like yours is like reviving for the sake of like bringing back her loved one.
Yeah,
I think that's the part that I didn't vocalize, but it was in my head. It was like she's creating homunculi of you in an attempt to recreate you.
But then the thing is, she clearly doesn't seem like, okay, obviously we're gonna pull but serial killers could be anyone card, they could be really nice. But she doesn't seem like, as Kevin said earlier, she seemed genuine in her grief, and it doesn't seem like she'd be the kind of person who would continuously make homunculi copies of someone she loved, right? It seems like she would rather want the genuine like article, so to speak.
And it makes sense because you're like so disfigured too.
Yeah.
I think
that's a great point on the disfigured.
Revival. Yeah.
Do you think you're disfigured? Did you pick that up?
Yeah,
because the mirror.
And then when you come down, the people when you said you thought their conversation was like his mind isn't there, I interpreted it as like his body was fucked up.
I do think the body was disfigured. I agree. I think that she intentionally broke the mirror to prevent you from. Because it seems really strange to intentionally hang up a broken mirror. Also, a very beautiful way for the artist to avoid giving you a canonical design. Very nice. Lets you, fill in the blank on what you think your character looks like.
That's what I thought it was. It was just like, oh, it's a shattered mirror, just because for gameplay reasons. But
because I think I said homunculi, but I was thinking more on the revival. Because I just think I didn't define what a homunculi was at that time. But yeah, I think it was pretty similar endings.
I think the beauty of the story is that, so I started off thinking the stranger was bad and the alchemist lady is good, which is obviously expected.
Yeah.
But then your understanding shifts. You know, this is the beauty of visual novels. Your understanding shifts and things take on a completely new meaning.
That was the weird thing about the second playthrough, where it's like, oh, I understand now that the person's actually just trying to find you. But I'm just gonna. I picked the option where you go out and intercept in the first playthrough. I'm gonna pick the option where you stay in the room. It's like, oh wait, this person's looking for me. Maybe I should go out. Now I want to see what happens when you stay. Oh wait, the lady just murdered this person.
Yeah.
Just brought them upstairs and came down without them and didn't say a word about it and doesn't mention it at all.
Where was their body upstairs though?
In the chute, dude.
I don't know.
Put it down the chute in the cell.
Okay.
That's why
I didn't know. I got to the part where I knew that they were dragged up to the alchemy lab. I assumed that
good. That's good parts right there though.
Yeah. I got to the part where okay, she brought the stranger up to the alchemy room and did something to them where they're no longer in the alchemy room.
Yeah.
But I couldn't figure it out from there because I didn't figure out the lockbox.
Yeah.
Based off the nature of the ending, I don't think there is a true end like a lot of visual novels would have. It's one of two. It's whether you choose to kill her or not and end it, or whether you choose to let her continue the cycle.
Yeah, it would have been because
a disservice
for the playing. Yeah, to a degree, and I think also like because for a while we were kind of talking about how if I was thinking like, or I think we all kind of were playing multiple playthroughs was like for her playing multiple loops, right? Like she was alive throughout, and I think we were all looking for ways to prove that, and the only one I thought of or saw was the book.
Yeah.
But what kind of disproves that each playthrough is a loop is that when you do choke her out, it starts over again, right? I think, and if they had made it like a Nier or something where they delete the memory data or they like do something like that.
Yeah, they should have done. I think it would have really sold it.
Yeah, it would have sold that. But then again, that would have sold that as like the ending.
Yeah.
But I mean, bro, I love it when
can you imagine they program it so that like at the end if you choose to choke her out when you start the new game, the conlang has been re-scrambled.
Yeah, or it corrupts it. But I think that would have made it not as interpretive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like gameplay thing. Not a ton of gameplay things in here, but I love that on the last day your vision dimmed. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, your vision starts to dim towards the end of the week. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, the second to last day and the last day. Yeah.
Yep. I think
was there any purpose to either the cooking or the farming minigame?
I think it taught you
a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Yeah, other than teaching you
the farming
words.
minigame, low key hard though.
Actually, the farming minigame, I kind of was like, bro, I feel like I'm cheating and writing this down. Honestly.
Yeah, I know. I literally was. I had to focus. Oh my god, I had to focus pages so and pages hard of it. For the farming minigame. Like I would like be making the pattern. Yeah, because you need the pattern in your.
No, I'd be like blue, tall, orange, short, food, and like
okay.
Saying
yeah, I just wrote it down.
So actually, the cooking mini game serves two purposes. So first of all, the calendar serves the purpose. It's just great because it's right there in front of you in the game, and instinctively as a human, you'd be like, "Oh, I need to check like the time, right?" Because you're just waking up. Yeah. So that's where you instinctively understand numbers. That teaches you like all the numbers. But the cooking mini game also reinforces numbers. It reinforces numbers, and it gives you more on colors. It gives you more on colors. And the other aspect of it, the games are especially important. I played a lot of them on the first day because they're a visual confirmation that what you are doing is correct and that your understanding of those words is correct. Because she straight up tells you, like, oh, you did a good job, or you did like,
You stop playing games with her once you understand.
Yeah.
I guess the cooking minigame was affirmation for both of those. I got the colors from the books in the books in the bedroom.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or finish your thought, Jeff.
And then the other one, there's like a color that isn't mentioned though, except through the cooking mini game that is applied elsewhere. I think and the other one is that it gives you bone. Bone only shows up like twice, but it gives you meat with bone and meat with no bone. So there's a distinction there in the cooking mini game.
That was meat.
Oh yeah, that was meat, bro. Dude, who I called the sauces, the oils. I was like, I think these are oils, but they're alcohol.
No, I
Alcohol.
call them alcohol.
Alcohol.
Liquor. I
Yeah.
put liquor.
Oh yeah, that's probably what the word was. I was like, I'm pretty sure this word is alcohol, but it doesn't fit.
Alcohol shows up again in the alchemy lab. That's what I was pretty
Yeah.
sure. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then for the plant one, that one is key for I think life. I think that's really the only use I got out of the planting mini game. If you didn't really get life
Yeah.
from like the medical
The
journal,
books or something. Yeah.
Yeah, life, and it also teach you like next step, final step, first step.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, that's the
first,
big one.
then-
Yes, that's
first,
actually
then,
that's
and
the real
last.
use.
Yeah.
The plant
Yeah.
mini game tells you this, then, and then like finally or something
Yeah.
like that.
and it teaches you again and perfect too.
Yeah.
Because I remember a while why I wasn't clicking again was like, I think this top option is yes, but why is she repeating it for me? Whenever I say yes, I'm ready. If she
Oh,
asks,
yeah,
do you want me to
yeah.
repeat?
Yeah, it feels
instructions
wrong,
again?
right? It feels flipped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause- And I think they purposely flipped it because usually it's yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
But they did yes, let's repeat the instructions.
Yeah.
It messes you up and then you
Yeah.
figure it out. But I like the cup mini game that changed between playthroughs sometimes too. Like
I don't think I
you,
played that one.
I don't
The
even know
coffee
how
cup going missing.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
she,
coffee
like-
cup going missing.
she draws you a picture and she's like, she puts it somewhere else and then
Yeah,
when you find
she's
it,
like
she
like
says,
I'm.
she says good
look for cup.
experiment. Yeah,
Yeah, she's like look for cup.
she kind of patronizes you. She's like good
Like,
experiment.
I don't
but
think
I
I saw
mean,
this
I
journal.
don't think it's really
the
patronizing when
lockbox.
you've literally forgotten all words.
That's true.
Maybe
You're
maybe this
saying,
wasn't on
Mitchell?
mobile. No, I don't think I saw the journal or the cup mini game.
The journal is at the
The journal's
very
in the
top
lab.
shelf in the bedroom. I
The
think.
journal's
and you can
one
write
of
in
it.
it.
It's
I-
one of the
I-
clickable, thin clickable.
definitely
In
thought
the
that-
drawers. It's in the
It's
drawers.
pretty small screen. You know, I'm pretty sure I touched
Yeah,
everything.
No, the
maybe.
journal that you can write in. I
Oh,
think
the one you
that-
can write
Yeah,
in is
it's
in your
kind of
in
like
your
a
room.
thin clickable, right? On like the
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one that you
it's
can write
small.
in is above. It's like above the bookshelf in the bedroom.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's like a
And
single.
the
May have
Yeah.
missed it.
the lockbox and the homunculi are in the alchemy lab on the right side. You have to specifically click the button to pan the camera that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Before-
don't
And she
think I
kind of
interacted with
Uh-huh.
that.
so otherwise she blocks your view if she's there with you.
yeah. But the company
I was
changed.
always there with her.
No, you can look right. There's a button to like
Yeah,
look
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Actually, I
then-
don't have the load save game.
Did it for me? I think the two times I got to the cup video game, it was always in the alchemy.
I actually only triggered it like a couple times, and then when you triggered it, it changed on playthroughs, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Oh,
this is
really?
kinda nice.
For me,
I
it was,
must have gotten. It was always on top of the drawer in the alchemy
Yeah.
room.
for me, it
No,
was
sometimes. So once it was there, and then once it was in your bedroom, and once it was
Yeah.
in the dining table outside, like it changed on like each playthrough.
That's cool.
sometimes.
Where's the?
It's in the- it's in that
right there.
box.
It's in the top.
It's-
on the top
it's
left
that-
one by the picture.
Oh,
of
can
your
you check
first
the
memory.
calendar while you're there, bro? I need to know.
Dude, we're doing it
Look,
live.
I don't
This
think
will-
it. I don't think it.
No,
it
the
works
left,
on-
by the bookshelf.
left
No,
box,
no,
the
no.
left box, the
Down
left box.
by the picture frame.
Yeah,
by
yeah,
the
yeah.
picture
Up
frame.
there,
Yeah,
above the
yeah.
picture.
Show the camera. Show the
This
camera.
one right here.
No,
No, no,
not
no,
at
the
top.
other one.
Top
This one?
rower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Down.
yeah.
No, down. No, it's not that box. It's to the right of the picture frame. There's a book. To the right of that picture frame, there's a book.
Oh, this
Wait,
one?
you can
Yeah.
Oh,
you
right
can
in
draw on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
right
go.
in there. Yeah.
Wait,
Wait,
click
you
the
can
calendar? I
swipe.
wanna
You can
know.
swipe to pan on mobile, Mitchell. How
That's
the
kinda
heck
sick.
did you not see the alchemy?
no, you can't. You have to hit the button.
Oh.
Yeah. Kick the calendar. Is it one?
It's one. It's 3 letters.
3 letters, same at beginning and end, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't
Yeah.
help because we need to see ours to confirm that's what we read it
Yeah.
as. I think I interpreted that as one.
I have
this-
it. I definitely have it interpreted as one.
But I also didn't know there was colors. Okay, we've been gassing this game up. I actually very much enjoyed it, but there's slight quality of life things that hurt. Like I didn't
Oh,
like how
God.
Is this the
Please,
lockbox?
no.
Wait,
Oh
before we
God!
talk about game design,
My finger was too fat. I was clicking on that thing so many times, and only now did it actually fucking deploy.
before we talk about the game design,
Motherfucker.
do you,
No, the lockbox we're talking about is in the alchemy lab.
Yeah, this one.
yeah,
I never
you
saw
got
Yeah, that.
it. Mitchell's
I-
like,
I-
wow. Yeah.
What were you about to say,
no,
Jeff?
I want to talk about this our overall feelings on the story before we move on
Okay.
to game
Yeah.
design,
Let's do
because
it.
I
let's do it.
thought for me it's very simple
Yeah.
and generic, but thanks to the complexity of the game itself,
Yeah.
it actually saves it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a tearjerker,
Yeah.
honestly. It
Well,
it's a little, it's a little bit force your handy, it being sad, I
Mhm.
guess.
I mean,
I can
the game is just so immersive that it like makes the simple story very good. And I actually was gonna mention, I'm glad you brought it up. So like a very similar game I played like this, I've talked about before, was Heaven's Vault. It's a very similar game where you're kind of interpreting a language, but the difference is the mechanics are different on how you do this language, but also like the setting is very different. Like Heaven's Vault, you play as like an archaeologist, and Nathan
archaeologist.
Drake, and I really enjoyed this language mechanic in that's like this very personal setting where you kind of like are interpreting it via like other things, situations, and stuff like that, and it makes things just feel more impactful. It's like and more scary at times, like how I was saying.
Yeah.
It's like definitely a very cool usage of it. Yeah. And I pretty much agree with what you're saying. Like it's a very simple story, but also like it'd probably be hard to uncover a very complex story.
Yeah, I
in a game.
wanted to add the
Yeah.
caveat that if it was complex, this would have been a total failure. It would not have worked at all.
Yeah.
It was already complicated enough, as you can tell, for like a lot of people.
Mhm.
It's a good twist. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's not what I got at all. So I enjoyed hearing about it.
It's a 6 on
Yeah.
my calendar. Wait, I'm so confused. It's a 6.
Wait, show it. Oh, you can't. Is it
I
a
can't-
different number? Is it the co and the co?
Mine is
No,
Is
it's
it
not
two
a co. Yeah, it's a 6.
Equals.
For
is
me, it's a
equal
6. It
signs
starts with a crown.
0?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
whoa.
Whoa.
Interesting.
yeah. Mine's is definitely.
Wait, maybe mine
Equal-
changed
oh,
too.
equal.
I'll check later. Yeah, maybe it changed. Like, oh, maybe this was the proof we were looking for, bro.
Oh god.
Maybe because you let her live,
Maybe.
and so like this is
No,
like.
but
a-
Jeffrey's
this is why
initial-
my understanding of the timetables was like,
Oh.
you're probably not a homunculus because these newspapers all say May,
Yeah.
but then the calendar for me is June. Like,
Yeah,
That's
for me,
interesting.
for me, the calendar is 1.
Wait, maybe we're uncovering that maybe they purposely scramble some things to change your interpretation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm curious on the newspaper for the face of you. When you click on it, does it not say your name?
no, it says
she-
my. It says
Okay.
it says I mixed it up on the first page,
I got you.
but no. But like the calendar is 6.
Yeah, maybe
I
that's
was
just
like, I'm
after
being
the-
gaslit, bro.
that's so weird.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Cause yeah, that's
yeah.
definitely a 1 for me, dog.
Yeah, it's
No,
definitely
but-
one for me.
Maybe it just changed. I'll check it later. Yo, should I check it now?
I would switch scenes
God damn.
to it, but
Does anyone else have anything to say on the story? Well, some people check.
I like the twist.
Yeah, I like it.
I thought honestly, I thought when I came to that conclusion that it was like pretty out there. I was like, this can't be it, right? This seems really bizarre. That like the whole like you are actually a homunculi and she's like maybe was a past lover and she's trying to like bring you back. I was like, this seems really far fetched for what it appears to be. And then I guess from you guys' things, I'm like,
You're
oh,
no longer unsatisfied.
I mean, now that I know what's behind the lockbox,
I think it's a mark of a good story that it can generate a lot of theories in this level of discussion. Where even though it's really simple and has very few moving elements, but we have a lot of very not super different, but different enough, considering that.
yeah.
What about you, Mitchell?
The story.
Yeah, what'd you think about?
I didn't really get much of the story,
Oh.
right? I think it's interesting what you guys have put down, but like I said, I didn't have much of a story. It was pretty. He was like
I think this game you either
I thought I was injured so badly, then she failed to heal me. Was kind of what I.
Which is, I think, also what I pretty
Oh.
much thought.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, I got it. I have a 6, bro.
I was getting
No,
gaslit.
no. I think it was a 1, but I think after you get the ending,
True
it
ending?
changed. Yeah. So maybe we need to keep playing. Fuck.
oh after you get the ending where you tell her to continue.
Yeah, because there's definitely a 1 for me before, and then I haven't played again after I got both of the last endings.
Do it. Delete the data. Start
No,
a
I
new
can't.
save.
No,
Check a 1.
You do it, bro.
It's just a game, Kevin. There's no,
No, it's not,
sentimentality.
dude. You don't know
Kevin,
how much
Kevin,
time. I have
if
like
it's-
17 hours clocked, bro.
Yeah. Kevin, if you still have it open, take a screenshot of it, and then I'll take a screenshot on my side.
I mean, it's okay.
Oh, because Terry never
I
reached that
believe it.
ending.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still
he
have
did.
it as
That's
one on
why
my
he
side.
still has a
me,
one.
I have
Yeah.
a one as well.
Yeah, I'll get
That's
it.
what I'm
later.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Yeah.
Deep gameplay, guys.
Well, I wonder what it
So
means. None
immersive.
of us got that far.
Wait,
so-
that means
Hey.
this confirms that the 619 she says in that ending means that she's saying it is
That's when
June
she'll
9
see you
yeah,
again.
June 19th.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
'Cause the
So that
calendar
means
changed.
that ending confirms the whole you are repeating weeks thing
Well,
that you were
that's
looking
a
for. Kevin.
given. It's just a question of whether or not you're being revived. Or...
Yeah. I think. Yeah. And I guess
Yeah.
you're technically not repeating weeks in the way you interpret though, because it only had triggers when you get a certain. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean overall.
Cool
very,
story. Yeah.
Cool.
We're still playing the game during.
Yeah,
the
we're still playing the
We're
game
still
during
learning.
the podcast. Yeah.
Pretty
I
sure
guess
my
we-
game
I-
audio didn't go through.
No, I didn't do anything.
Kevin, did you want to talk about your gripes with the game design?
Oh yeah. So I do love this game. I think it's one of my most enjoyable in recent memory. But I do have a few big gripes with just some core game. I want to call it gameplay, but it's really quality of life.
Quality of life
Regulated
with
gameplay.
regards to the mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since the mechanics are the gameplay, but like, okay, so maybe if I didn't know you could color. I don't know if that
Yeah, I
can you
didn't know
filter
that.
by color?
No. Okay,
Okay,
we'll get
then
to
yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
when
okay,
talk
I need
about
to-
it. Don't
I
worry.
needed- I
wait,
needed-
hold on. Let me guess one of the things. It's when you select one of the words in the sentence, but when it pulls up your dictionary,
Yeah.
it
you
always
have to
pushes
scroll.
it to the top. You have to scroll, and on PC, the scroll wheel does
No,
not
you have to grab it.
work
You have to
very
grab
well.
it.
You have to grab it. The scroll wheel goes so slow for some reason.
Dude, my mouse, I can make it burr my mouse. It has one of
Yeah.
those thingies where you can spin super fast, still fucking slow. But yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
too bad
So-
on mobile because you can tap through it.
Yeah. Well, you grabbed it on mobile. Which maybe this game was made mobile first, honestly.
The developer's first game. Keep in mind, everyone, this is a solo developer. Their
Yeah.
first game
Yeah.
was a mobile
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah, so
How
maybe
did
it
I
was mobile
never
first.
see the fucking color?
he's still learning about
He's
the
still
game.
playing the game. Dude, Mitch is gonna do another run.
No.
But okay, so yes, I wish there was sorting of some sort and search. I really like there's times where I was like, what is this word? And I'm like, especially when you're trying to talk to her, you're like, I know this word. I know I want to say like death. Where is death? I want to say like understand.
It
I know I want
helps.
to say this.
I
yeah.
I actually found out, and this helped me a lot in my second playthrough in the middle of it,
Mm.
was that the words are actually roughly grouped together by meaning. Life
Yeah.
is close to death.
Yeah.
Noon, morning, and
But you
night are
still
all
don't know
together.
You still don't know where.
No,
it
but
is,
you know,
though.
you eventually figure out like where things are.
You kind of
Like-
just look like,
Yeah.
oh, I see life. Okay, death has to be here, essentially, right? So,
Yeah, all the numbers
but I
and
agree
colors
totally
are.
that
But
it is
I
pain.
don't-
Yeah.
I mean, just because you got good at it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
yeah. I agree.
And then
I
if there was colors, filtering by color, like I don't think those are super big ass, you know?
my biggest gripe, I'm really gonna say is now, I wish there was a word search. I
Yeah,
wish
sure.
searching was better, because even if you start at the top every time, if it had a filtering system, then it would have helped a lot. Colors were nice, but there needed to be a lot more. There needed to be like you can make your own custom categories, for example, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna put all the
yeah.
nouns here. I'm gonna put all the verbs here, things like that. Just colors was not sufficient because the list gets very
I also wish you could chain through memories, you know? Like when
Oh,
you click
yeah.
on the word to scroll through your memories and you see another word in there and you want to click on that one and then go through that one. Like I kind of
Yeah.
wish there was
There's a lot of
little bit
menus
of
if you
that.
think about it. You have to click on
Yeah.
the thing, then go
Yeah.
in it, then tab out when you're done.
I mean, it'd probably make
And-
it too easy, maybe, but I wish you could replay conversations instead of just seeing where the
Yeah.
word popped up.
Because actually, this is interesting. I wanted to mention when Jeffrey was saying how he like stared at the list. I did do that a little too, but I actually noticed when I was playing it, I actually played through the game again and just stared at the conversation and then used
Yeah.
that to kind of bounce off where I wanted to get the word.
But the problem
'Cause
I had with that method was there were words that could have one meaning, like just like how we have words that mean one
Oh,
thing
yeah.
in this context. So I had to.
I
I
used
always
the
flip through them.
I used the
Yeah,
memories too, but I only addressed the words that I saw immediately in the situation because I just felt it helped me. Yeah.
I
That's
think you
interesting.
guys are actually using the same method more or less, actually, just speculatively. Because I think at least it sounds like Kevin's doing the same thing I'm doing, and I find I'm doing a similar thing to Jeff. We're like, we go through a conversation, you get to a word, you're like, what does this word mean? Open it up, look through the
Then you
memories,
flip through.
and then you what I would do is similar to Jeffrey, where like I think it means this. I'm gonna put this meaning and a question mark, and then move on, and then like, oh, this meaning and question mark showed up again. That doesn't make sense here, and then you figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
But yeah.
how I did it.
No. Yeah, definitely some quality of life stuff there. That it's just around that really.
Yeah. Apparently
that was
on
really the
mobile,
only
my
thing.
my finger was too fat and I missed a bunch of things. But
That does kind of suck. Maybe you should
yeah.
go work out.
it's not that big.
Or maybe you should get a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold.
Oh yeah,
That's too big.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
We can't-
You wish,
we'll take
bro.
sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess just for me, I did not realize this was. So are there like spelling errors?
No.
What?
What do you mean by spelling it?
Because this is Japanese then, right? So I didn't realize the grammar was kind of fucked and the.
Well, the grammar.
No,
is
the
its own
grammar, the
thing.
grammar, the
grammar's
grammar. It was
constructed.
just like grammar for this language. It wasn't like
Yeah.
Japanese grammar or English
It
grammar.
was constructed. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It didn't
But
correspond.
I do think the letters lined up with English though. I
Okay.
do have.
Yeah.
I do.
And Kevin being anxious to delete his data to see if it reverts to 1 was the exact same reason why I ended up not checking other languages. I was gonna switch to traditional Chinese, but I was afraid it was gonna delete all of my progress because it would have to like regen it to make it work for traditional Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder
Yeah.
how that works.
I mean, yeah. I don't want to. I don't. I spent a lot of time looking for those words.
Because that was the big thing. I was like, why have language as like one of the big buttons in the main menu if it affects the
Well,
beginning
it affects a
like
few of the
yeah,
choices, and
it affects the beginning like 3 slides, and it affects like the last true endings.
I mean, yeah, that matters.
Yeah.
It matters, but I was like, if most of this language,
There's
it like
actually,
matters.
There's
but, like-
actually a lot of text. Every night you go to sleep, you're thinking about a word, and you're thinking about your character. Also
oh
talks
right, I
one
forgot
of
that that's
those.
in the
Like,
Yeah.
that's in the
Yeah.
Eng-
your
that's in
character
the
actually
language.
talks a fair amount
Oh.
in their own head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet you
Okay,
because some
ignore
of
me.
it didn't line up too. Because like sin, they hard gave you sin, and the word that was there for sin was like 7 characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't match up.
Yeah,
work.
it doesn't fully match up like that. But I don't know. I
I
feel
feel
like
like
maybe some
so
of the
many
words
things
are,
did match up
yeah.
though.
Yeah, like
doesn't-
all the numbers, colors, and
Yeah.
certain
I think
things
you
made
guys
me-
are engaging your pattern-seeking behavior too extensively.
No, but
that was low key why I failed. Like I was trying too
Yeah.
hard to fit it into things and like
What?
to make it English.
You
I
kind of
think.
have
So
to
I
learn
would-
the rules. Of
I
the
would
game.
always I would start with context before I would look for the pattern seeking. I
Like,
would like
for-
guess.
Yeah. No, but for me, it's like learning the rules of the game with like learning that phrases were allowed within a single word, things like that, you know. And also learning that generally the creator tried to stick to single words for every word. Like turns of phrase weren't super common like as a whole thing.
Yeah.
So-
It was only
But you know, once you learn a couple of those rules, quote unquote, then you really start to get going.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think I talked about it on the stream. I forget because the stream was like 2 months ago at this point. But I was talking about I was like, this seems like the correct clue. The whole like within a word, the symbols match up to
Mhm.
repeated letters. But I was like, but that only works if you're in English. But this
Yeah.
developer is the Japanese developer. But too many of these words line up
Work that way. Yeah.
perfectly
I mean,
for English.
Japanese people know English. Like,
I actually
they
didn't even
could've
know
just
this was a
chosen-
Japanese developer.
Yeah.
So probably
I didn't.
would have
either,
helped me
yeah,
to like expand my thinking a
guess.
little bit.
'cause it's a pretty weepy game.
That's true.
I guess
That's
Americans
yeah.
also-
Regarding the plot, of the, yeah, I was like, I
Yeah.
actually thought the twist was kind of nice in that it wasn't, you know, super. Like everything was expected basically in terms of weebiness. Until twist.
Yeah, the twist
Which is still
definitely
pretty a
more like
weeby
wuss.
twist, but at least it wasn't like a pure tearjerker. So.
Yeah.
Or anything
I-
else about?
Oh yeah, I
gameplay?
have more. Don't worry, buddy. Actually, my biggest one, and I think, this ruined my immersion towards later playthroughs. It's one of those games where, oh wow, this feels really great until you kind of think about it a bit later. But I don't know if you guys noticed the hand gestures that she made in a couple of clicky things.
do you
Like
mean?
Like what?
at the beginning when she says her name and then your name, she points to
yeah.
Oh
herself.
yeah, she points
yeah.
to herself and then points to you.
Then she points to
Yeah.
you. I want to say
Yeah.
regarding how you mixed it up earlier, Mitchell. Man, she pointed to herself and she pointed to you. How did you mix that up?
Is it the very first one?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
in the opening scene, she like
Yeah.
points to herself and says name,
Mitchell's on
and
the-
then the name that appears in the box.
He's on a small screen, guys. Give
Yeah.
him
Also,
slack.
also
On a small
low key,
screen.
the first I kind of like stumbled. I was like, and I was just kind of clicking, and like I hit the button before, like I just tapped the scrreen right, and then it like moved on, and I like
Oh.
skipped a bunch of words at first because I was like, wait, is it not? Is there nothing
Yeah.
to stop you? Like you can just click.
Yes.
So
I will
slight
also say
tangent.
this.
Mm.
Say this
Let me
real
just get it
quick,
quickly.
which is that
Okay.
I wish this had every visual novel has this. Why does it not let you read back previous
Oh.
conversations in a
Oh,
log?
No
yeah,
log.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, no
sometimes would click too fast and I'd be like, wait, I want to read that again. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
saying.
a
You didn't
big
remember
sin
the
right
word
there.
to look at the memory?
Yeah, right.
Okay, but going
Yeah.
back to what you were saying, Kevin, about this.
Oh, I'm also big dumb. When I first played this game, I was stuck because I kept clicking on the screen to try and go forward, but I clicked on the word and it
Yeah.
would pull me to the dictionary. And I'm like, what do I do from here? What is this game? And I kept clicking there and I was like trying to go, and it took me like probably a solid 5 minutes to realize you're supposed to click like on the screen
Anywhere else.
to make it go forward. Yeah, because it felt like, I thought the text was 2 options because it had lines under them.
Mm.
And I thought you had to click on option 1 or option 2. I kept clicking between them and nothing was happening. And then like you would cycle before you really understood it. I was like, I felt like big dumb after that.
This man missed the invisible tutorial
Yeah.
of you scrolling through the text boxes that show up
No,
in
no, no.
English.
It was before that. It was before you got to the part where it says
No,
oh,
no,
you
no,
can
no. I'm
click
talking
on
about the very first text box that show up. The one that's like, this is a story about blah blah blah. The
Oh yeah, but I
story.
clicked on the text there. I clicked on the words there. I click.
It doesn't matter where you click there because you can click anything.
Yeah,
Nothing's
I click on
interactable
the.
except
But
the
I
screen.
usually click on the text box when I'm reading games like that too. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's a difference.
Yeah.
I think I always click like not on the text box.
I always click on
What,
the
you
text
click on
box.
the-
There's a visual.
You click on the
thing.
characters? Yeah, I always click on the.
No, I click on an empty space in the screen.
Oh no, I click on the text box. I don't know. So that's why I was getting fucked up because I was like, man, what's happening? Is this, am I dumb? Yeah, but that was pretty much user error, I'm sure.
Going back even further out of this nested talk about the initial hand gesture thing,
Oh shit, sorry.
I really wish there were more hand gestures
Mhm.
because so the first thing is that the game does the pointing thing. I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be really
Yeah.
fun. This is gonna be real nice look at like human psychology where you can't understand
Mhm.
each other, so you have to revert to like that to get each other like charades, right? And then it literally only comes up like one more time in the rest of the game. I was just like, I'm sad.
Yeah.
Like everything's okay, I really enjoyed the game, but I was slightly
Mhm.
sad that they didn't utilize hand gestures more because it just makes sense. When two people
Yeah.
can't communicate, they're gonna be using a lot of hand gestures.
Yeah,
Like,
in the longer conversations I get it, I feel like for like the wandering around stuff, it's like the hand gesture is almost implied of like her pointing at the thing that you click at. It's
Yeah.
like
but there's
Yeah,
a lot of
but-
situations, honestly, I can't remember them exactly, obviously.
Mhm.
There's a couple I felt where she could have like at least pointed to something, right? And it would have
Yeah.
helped like solidify the meaning instead of just always you pointing to something and then she just responds.
Yeah.
It's that cut from the realism for me, and
Yeah.
I was excited to experience that part of the game.
I think it probably is kind of what you said, like solo developer.
It's
But
a
it
little
makes
developer
you-
heavy, which I understand as well, because you
Yeah.
kind of have to start
Or
making custom
artists
sprite
too,
work,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and all.
and you have to make it
But-
where she's not anchored to the side of the
Yeah.
screen. She's
Yeah,
pointing.
yeah.
Now imagine a mocap game like this. That'd be kind of crazy. That'd be what you wanted.
But I'm just saying, yeah, it'd be like okay, let's say you're talking to someone, you don't know their language, and you're trying to like, let's say you're
Yeah.
trying to gesture towards the meaning for money, right? And then
Mhm.
like, you're not getting money. They just say the word, but you're not getting. So then they point to like a metal thing and like a coin, right, or like a circular thing, and they try to get you to fuse the things. It's just very natural to do things like that. That's why I'm saying, for like a psychological stamp, I was really really excited to get into like this deep kind of like thing, but it didn't really end up panning out that way. But I understand why. I still really enjoyed the game. But
I can see how you interpret it as like it was kind of like it breaks your like belief in what a human is, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But maybe if you want to get your immersion back, maybe she's just done this so many times.
Yeah, I was about to
she's
say.
over it, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Try that hard.
But yeah, I think aside from that, my only other gripe is classic. There's a lot of visual novel quality of life that's developed over the past few decades that are just not here. No log, no text log, no skipping to skipping scene conversations.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what that is? Like
it's like
so,
fast
like,
fast forwarding
yeah,
past
in visual
scenes.
novels with multiple routes, they'll often just let you they'll just straight up
Go
have
to the
let you
break
start
point.
from the branch, right?
Yeah.
But that's a little metagamey for some people. So some will also just let you do the fast forward through all the scene panels and just get to the panel where you haven't seen.
Yeah.
None of that. Kind of painful playing the 14th time, just sleeping every day, trying to get straight to night 5 so you can try a different word on the variation to see if you can get something.
At least it's relatively short, making it bearable, but definitely not.
The part of the problem, it's not that short either, because every time you sleep, you have to go through that mandatory dream sequence where you have to pick out the word
that's
again.
true. That's
And
true.
it's kind of slow. Yeah. So it's a little. But those are my 3 gripes: hand gestures, visual novel quality of life, and the word search. Everything else was.
Anything else you want to address? Don't actually have too much other things.
I do.
Especially okay.
I want to say good things now.
Sure.
We've been saying good.
Yeah. The plot as a whole is good.
For game design, I think good things. There's actually quite a bit about the game. We talked about the hand gestures. I wish they utilized that more, but the ones that were there were great because you know, in the beginning scene is natural, right? To do that. Oh, this is me, right? Point to yourself. This is you, and then point to you. But then the like other things, the dream sequences were a great idea.
Because they give you the important words too.
I actually didn't realize it. Yeah, they give you all the important words. I didn't realize it at the first playthrough because I actually picked the right ones every time on accident. But if you pick the wrong one, it actually tells you like maybe that's.
Yeah, he says like maybe that's not the right word.
Yeah, but when you pick the right one, it gives you that reinforcement. So at minimum, the game does give you essentially 9 words: the alchemist's name, your name, or well, you know, the proper noun referring to both of you, and the 6 words, I guess, because you sleep 6 times.
6, yeah.
Yeah, so you get 8. Those 6 words, which are all key. You learn memories. You learn like
you learn war.
Forget.
Wait, but
you learn forget. That one's really big.
If you get it wrong, how do you learn? It doesn't tell you. It just says
you play it again.
It just tells you.
That actually is a great thing. It both encourages replayability and it straight up helps you with understanding the main story because these are all keywords.
Yeah, it's your memories too. That's actually how I got the ending. Like, because sin is one of those words.
Sin is extremely difficult. Sin only shows up in one other thing and an extremely vague like biblical flyer in her drawer, which I thought was like temperance or something. Because it did not look like sin.
Yeah.
And then until you get the memory on like night 6 where it's like, oh,
like,
sin.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, all right, that's sin if
right.
you say so.
I don't think you could have figured that out without them.
That is definitely a key to because that's such an abstract concept too. Like death was really abstract, but you have like a cultural reference to it in the Grim Reaper, exactly, which is really obvious.
The sword too, right?
Yeah. But sin is like, I don't think there's necessarily a common cultural marker for sin, you know, so it could be really difficult.
Yeah. Oh, I loved on gestures. I loved when you pointed at her, she would say her name, and when you pointed too much, she would be like, "Stop pointing at me."
Oh yeah, no, there was great gestures where she would blush on things, which would pretty much always tell you is something related to love, you know? Like, there's a couple of those. Also, that's what I mean by like, I wish there were more gestures because it feels so organic, you know?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But like aside from the dreams as well, I think the tutorial was really great. It actually felt pretty natural. Obviously, with all the menus in the UI, it was like, oh wow, it's clearly a game, right? But the natural progression of your character going from talking to them in the morning, then finding them in the dining room, then your character goes like, oh, what is that word? Then it automatically brings up the dictionary list, right? It tells you that you have to type in a word, for example, to fill it in. I think it was pretty natural in the sense that we, just like how Kevin was automatically clicking on shit and trying to fill in words from the start. If we encountered someone where we didn't know, we didn't have that that communication bridge, we would immediately start storing sounds together and trying to put meaning to sound from the get-go. The tutorial really built on that sort of natural instinct. And
they used pictures sparingly, but when they did, it was nice. That's kind of what kind of covered some more gestures, I guess, when she would draw the pictures.
It's the same realism issue I had with the picture, with the pointing, whereas like people would be using gestures and pictures a lot.
There was only a few of those. Probably
there's 2. I
think there's.
There's one where she, I think, teaches you about speaking, thinking, and pointing.
Yeah.
There's one where she's asking you to investigate the house to find the coffee mug. And I think there's one where she's like you, me together.
Yeah.
With the heart.
Okay.
Together, but you
actually
forgot. Oh, there's 4. There's one more in the room. Right? Yeah.
Oh, there's one more lodged in the journal in the bedroom, yeah.
Oh man. I just remember something huge for the story. One of the ending. I don't know what this ending means. This actually might be the true ending. So one of the endings, I think it's you choke her out, but you choose a certain word. I can't remember. But then instead of going to the end black, right? And you start the game again in another loop, you actually wake up to a translated alchemy book in English, and there's 2 arms in front of you, and you can like write in it. And then a third hand appears off the left side of the screen, puts a post. This sounds really creepy. It puts a sticky note next to the book, and it has a heart on it, and it says like heart, like alchemy.
Oh, I did not get that at all.
I guess that's the only way you can get the translated alchemist name.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have a translated alchemist name. It just says heart, and then it has the symbols on it.
It has the symbols for the alchemist name.
But like the ending it's the only part of the game with English in it. Yeah, because it actually talks. It's an image of 2 hands with one on a pencil, one with the book open, and it has like, it's describing alchemy and how like it's from like Europe and China or whatever, right? It's all in English. And then the sticky note appears off the left side with the heart. And so my understanding of that ending was that it was your character in first person view, because you're always in your view, right? You're actually healthy again. You're looking at the book, and there's like an English translation. That's why something like that. You have a pencil out, and she's from going behind you and giving you a sticky note.
That's how I would interpret it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a cute ending.
It's a happy ending.
From trying to choke her out.
Yeah.
But she just had to kill like 50 people to do it. Easy happy ending.
They're not you.
Yeah.
I don't remember the conditions that go to that ending.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it's quite specific. I do think it was the choke option.
You can get away with genocide if you're best friends with the Hokage.
True though.
Yeah.
Anything else on the game design you guys wanted to mention?
I feel like
to go back to like the very beginning of like why I felt like I didn't beat the game, even though apparently I actually got pretty close to like.
Yeah, you got like 90%.
Was that like at a certain point, like I said, like I just got, and this is probably just my like a personal thing of like I just got frustrated banging my head at not being able to figure out any more words. Like on that third playthrough, I got halfway through and like all the words that I didn't know, I still couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
And then that just frustrated me to the point where I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
I think.
Yeah.
I think what helped well for me is like I did the thing I learned in school. You just walk away and you come back, and then
I walked away for like a month.
That third playthrough.
No, that third playthrough was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Really.
It's like
When
I
you
wanted
walk
to
away
get
for
there.
a month,
play
it's
through.
no longer in your brain.
I just
still my
checked
brain.
really fast for that. It is you choke her and you pick her name as the final thing when you're choking her.
Oh, do you get to say something when you choke her out?
Yes, you
I
do.
don't
You get
remember.
one to say one. If you say
Oh.
love, for example, she'll.
Oh, I think I said love. Yeah.
Yeah. If you say her name,
Yeah,
it'll give you
yeah,
that
yeah.
ending with the.
Oh.
I can even send you guys a screen grab.
No,
It turns out that you were also a master alchemist.
Well, I
Well,
think
no,
there
my
had to be.
interpretation is like I think
That's
you're like
later.
studying the book, but she does pass that note on the left, which is just that's the
Oh yeah, clearly two different hands.
or no, sorry, the hand's already gone. The left hand
Mm.
that passes the note's already gone, but I think it's her asking you like if you remember.
Yeah.
But given that the book is in English, I think it's pretty telling
Yeah.
That you
remember language again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that you remember language again. But it's
You're
weird. That's what I'm
basically
saying. It's
healed.
weird that her name is still in the
That's
symbols.
true.
So maybe that's
Or
the
maybe-
story
maybe-
of
no,
the
you're-
alchemy.
you were writing in English.
but not that language.
No,
Yeah,
you're
you're-
writing in English.
You're writing it.
Oh,
You're
writing
translating.
English. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's actually quite a nice ending, especially. Wow, that's great. I love that. I actually really love it.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty like you don't remember the original language, but you actually like come up with your own language.
Or I
Well,
think
maybe English.
you
is-
learned that and now you're transcribing
But
into
I think
your language.
from the game thing, you're
Yeah,
thinking in
it makes it-
English. You're thinking in English throughout the game. It just
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, it would be like
Or-
yeah.
Transcribing,
Maybe-
I think.
Maybe
Somehow.
alchemy as a language is in English, and maybe that's all you remember.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I think that is it is
because
sort of,
I think it's clear that you do the normal language at some point.
yeah. No, I think it is a
Yeah.
beautiful meaning though, because even if you couldn't relearn the old language, then this signifies that you've learned something new and you're creating a bridge.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think for me, kind of going off Terry's point, but like personally, I don't like not knowing if I'm right or wrong. And you really, at like day 5, I had to like sit down with myself and be like, all right, you have to remember what they said in the beginning. Like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. But like, I was basically going in circles so many times trying to find like the right way, like the exact word that was right, and so that I like
Mhm.
didn't translate anything. So I like personality wise, I don't think that jived with me.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to translate because of that. So it's an interesting. It gets kind of psychological, like how much you'll enjoy this game too. It's very like personality and how you solve problems.
I think I was gonna mention this at the end, but it's a good point. This is a very niche game, and I could tell that before even going into it. Most people aren't really going to be interested in language that way, right? In the first place, much less have to sit down and just look at it. If you really think about it, most people pretty much take language in a for granted way. That's not a bad thing. It's just you're just born understanding things.
Yeah, you don't
And
think
it's
about it.
yeah, you just know, right? Like just words just mean what they mean. You don't ever really have to struggle with thinking about like well, obviously unless you talk to someone differently. But you normally in your daily life you don't have to struggle with that. But the whole game is about that struggle, which is already frustrating for people who had to deal with it occasionally. Now you don't know any, so you just have to sit there and bash your head against the wall till you figure it out. And I think that is a very small, I don't want to say super small, but not majority, subset of people.
Yeah.
Maybe subconsciously you guys all got further because you are all more bilingual than me.
You're pretty bilingual, honestly.
Yeah,
Mitchell.
you're
Yeah.
pretty bilingual. You've been
Mm.
learning Chinese in college.
I like do not speak though. Like it's not
Yeah.
something I wrestle with very often at all.
Oh, like you don't.
I
Speak
think
to
Mitchell
your, like,
might also have the fact that
grandparents or
we've been
parents.
bilingual
Yeah.
since like we were young, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my Vietnamese is pretty trash nowadays.
But
not
you
gonna
still
lie.
use
But
it,
you
like,
still
I've-
learned it, so you still
Yeah,
have the mechanisms
true.
of learning a second language while.
Well, I
being
think
pretty
you're
young.
actually presented with it. Like I still know some Chinese, but like I never have
Yeah.
to think about speaking it because I don't no one I know really speaks it.
That's true.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, cause I guess you're not also like I don't think you have to communicate with people in that language.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I have to communicate with them grandma and
Like you often
Facts.
hear people,
you have to
and
pick out.
for example, in customer service jobs, just dealing with one person, not knowing is already painful enough. That's just a short interaction. Now imagine like the whole game. Yeah, my point is like people. It'd be like most people have 2 legs, and you played a game where you're just missing a leg. And it's just very frustrating because you're used to having 2 legs. So I understand that this game is definitely not for everyone, but it's like essentially a niche subset of puzzle gamers, I would say, especially if you're interested in language and how it colors your perception of things. This is a great game for you. If that sounds interesting, definitely. But if you hate puzzles, do not come anywhere near this game with a 10-foot pole, because it's even more just sitting there trying to figure something out than your average puzzle game.
Yeah.
Good thing we have a puzzle lover here, right?
Yeah, I fucking love it. That's why I only played it once.
I also realized, even though it was obvious, that we didn't actually put a spoiler warning before we dove straight into the story.
We spoil all the games.
Spoil every
if you're here, we're spoiling it.
Yeah, but like people could be jumping into a random episode.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true. We can put it.
Put it in the
I'll put a video. I'll put a blinker up.
Okay, we're only spoiling a tiny game. Probably most people have heard.
Yeah.
But we're also spoiling the entirety of the game.
They'll never play it. Just like how people watch Let's Players, but they never play the game. Like most of the people who watch Let's Players,
Hey, I feel
why are you
called
calling
out.
people out?
Why are you calling me out, bro?
Bro, I'm part of that group.
Yeah.
But on a slight aside, I mentioned it again, but like for a game on language, like Heaven's Vault had a much easier to get into mechanic system because they did things that address what you were talking about, Mitchell. They validate when you're right, and then like you can make assumptions, and you'll find new clues, and then the game will even tell you like, oh, with this clue, I don't think this is the right one. You should try a different one. But it makes it obviously for this game, I don't think it would have worked as well because you only really want like to have multiple interpretations, whereas Heaven's Vault, you can have different endings still, but you have a true interpretation, right?
A lot of this game, motivation wise, driven by either
player,
how attached you are to the other character and how much you want to understand the story. I think the game's strongest point, aside from the whole flexible interpretation thing, which is great art opinion, is that it does the good thing that visual novels do, where you want to know about the other characters, so you continue to play. In this game, you're frustrated by your lack of understanding, but your sheer desire to understand other people, in this case one other person, is so intense that you continue to play despite the frustration. Which is why the immersion, really, really is key and really great and critical to this game. Is that, as people, we have a natural desire to understand each other and know what the other person is talking about, try to empathize with each other. So this game, especially with the ending, where it's kind of a tearjerker, you really, really want to push. So even if you always die in every ending, you're pushing so that you can understand what the other character is saying, which I think is like, you could call it like like being driven by love or whatever. Not necessarily romantic love, right? Or platonic love, whatever you want to call it, but a love for humans. That's what makes the game art.
All right. I think we're just gonna throw it to final thoughts then. If there's anything else you want to say about it,
then we can ask our question.
Then we can ask our question.
I have one. I know I just said a line that felt like a really good thing to end on, but okay, I have one more thing to say. But you guys have all heard this. This is more for the viewers. It's that one of my favorite things in a video game is player choice, and I'm sure anyone who watched the Wasteland 3 episode knows that. And it's about the importance of that choice having an impact on your own experience. That's what makes a game different from a movie or a book, right? Is that it has the potential for player input. And I'm a big believer that media should leverage the strengths of their medium. So when you're making a movie, you should definitely, like, instead of saying, why couldn't I just make this a book? You should be focusing on the combination of sound and visuals with the story. in order to make it, justifiable as a movie, that's what makes it really great. Is that cohesive experience. For games, you get that additional layer of player input. No other medium has that to such a high degree.
Yeah.
And 7 Days to End with You really takes that concept and embraces it fully. And it incorporates it into its meaning, and therefore the art is trying to represent.
Yeah.
So because of how each person's playthrough is probably unique in how differently we interpret the symbols and contextual scenarios given to us, the great amount of variability, honestly, a huge selling.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that too. Yeah. Like, I love it when, I think we've talked about this a lot, but I think we all love it when, like, you can't it doesn't work in another medium, right? When a work of art only works here like this, that means it really took advantage of things. And it's like definitely one thing that you love the most. And like, I think on top of that, like, I think that's why people love games so much, because games typically, I think of all mediums, can be the most immersive because they give you some player agency.
Yeah, because it actually factors in.
Yeah, and then I think that immersion naturally as a human, like, makes you get really invested in certain.
I wrote a whole college paper on this.
Hey, post it in the doobly-doo. You want to read Terry's college thesis?
Please no. It was
We'll put a link to it.
It was for a religion and media course I took, and it was like the term paper or whatever, and I just basically described how video games are actually a great learning tool because, like, it is the easiest way to get you immersed. And I remember one of the big things I was talking about was learning about the Witch Trials by learning about the Salem Witch Trials versus playing Witcher 3 and actually going through like the Hunt of the Sorcerers, like doing that whole side quest in Main Town 2, whose name I can't remember. Like the whole, like, do you act the part or do you rebel, and the consequences of such, those actually like play out, and through the consequences of those playing out, you learn a lot more about what it was like then to like live in that era.
Or you empathize.
Yeah, you empathize more with, like, yeah, of course, like, burning people at the stakes because they're witches is not good, but like at the time, like at the time where like sorcery and witchcraft, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it was one of those BS term papers.
No, you can read it below, right?
Yeah. I'll go dig it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, as we've mentioned before, that's the strength of video games, and we all are believers of video games as an art form. And I think this is one of the ones for sure. For me, I just felt like an idiot on the 7th. I felt like an idiot, but especially on the 7th day when I woke up and I just started dying, and I was like, "What the fuck? I'm dying!" I didn't really think. I was like, "Oh wait, 7 days to end with you." Oh, well, that makes sense. But I thought I held a whole nother day, so I was like ready. I was like preparing to translate more things, and I started dying, and I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
I don't want to trash you, but like literally each day, he's like, "I feel my body getting weaker."
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna die though. I thought, I don't know, but yeah.
And then your vision dims too.
You're
like, "Is this my phone? Is this my phone dimming? Why is it so?"
No, literally. Because also you don't notice on a phone because phones auto do it, right? Like if you're moving.
Yeah,
I actually didn't pick up on that. But yeah, definitely felt like an idiot at the end because I was like, wait, I'm dying, and then I didn't know any of the words, and I was like, god damn it, kind of didn't do it. But yeah, that's I think a good wrap up for it. So the question is, would you have finished this game if you would have started?
Starts with you.
For me, no.
Well, he did finish.
Well, he did finish.
Well, he did finish.
I could have gone, like, even like myself, I was like, I didn't really finish. I think I've had more fun actually like discussing this game than playing it. Discussing it almost makes me want to go back to it, but it was a struggle for me to actually like sit down and play through it. I wasn't very motivated to do so. I do think, as I mentioned earlier, part of it was because I played it on phone, and it's harder for me to focus and give the time and focus it deserves. But at the end of the day, as you've mentioned, and I've probably noticed, I'm not a big puzzle gaming fan. I do like words and like word puzzles. Like I was really into Wordle and stuff when that came out, but it's a different type of puzzle, right? There's the right or wrong versus this is much more nebulous. So I see the value in this game. I don't want to say it's a bad game, but not for me. I would not have finished it.
I think that's fair. I'm a
Um,
definite. I'm a definite would have finished it. Like I really enjoyed.
For me, I probably would have gone and I would have stopped halfway through the second playthrough. I think, if I recall correctly, was when I was starting to get like really frustrated with the game, which is a shame because like halfway, a little bit past where I think I would have stopped is where I would have had the revelation of, oh,
Mhm.
she's an alchemist and you are a homunculi, which would have been like a disservice, I think, to the game. But I think the truth is, yeah, because I was first playthrough, I was definitely like, I just gotta push through this because I'm on stream. I need to finish like first playthrough, and then like, oh, I should probably do a second playthrough.
Mhm.
I think it's definitely the fact that I streamed it was the only reason why I actually got through that second playthrough.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like, but I think the fact that I opened the thing on my first playthrough like really hit my thirst of knowledge in this game, where I was like, I need to know what's happening, and I think of it. I think you need that feeling to get the game, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Normally a story is what keeps me going, but I'm writing my own story so that the hook isn't in for me. I think that was why. But Jeff, easy answer.
Oh
but-
yeah, well,
It's a no.
I would have played it. I probably would not have played it to the extent I did. I probably would have looked up the endings, but function pretty similar.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, that's our discussion on 7 Days to End with You. A very artsy, but very, very interesting, very unique game, I think. Which also brings us to next month's game, or this month's game. It's actually my game. Terry still has yet to pick.
Dude, Terry's not gonna. We're gonna
We're
be
encroaching-
like.
If we
we're
get a whole,
we're
A
encroaching
whole
upon
year.
a whole year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in true me fashion, I have picked Space Run, which is space themed. Have a type
Yeah.
clearly. But yeah, it's
Yeah, wait,
kind
have
of
all the games you picked? Oh, Gladiator Guild Manager. Okay,
No.
all the other ones are space themed.
Star Wars is like, I guess it's space, but
Come on.
Hello?
it's like differently space. It's like, well, space fantasy, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So Space Run is what our next game will be. You're welcome to play along with us. Please do.
By the time this episode comes out, I probably would have finished the run on stream, which should be coming back. We've been on hiatus for a while, but that's because of scheduling weirdness.
Yeah.
Personal lives.
Personal lives happen.
We have lives outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone
Yeah, I
thinks
don't
we
think anyone
have
thinks
lives
they-
outside of YouTube.
We only upload once a month, so clearly we have other things
Yeah.
going on. But
But yeah. So make sure, because of our fun schedule, that you subscribe so you can get notified of when stuff gets posted or when we go live. If you have suggestions for games we can play, make sure to throw that down in the comments below.
Put on the dice.
All
Yeah.
right.
thank you.
Yep.
We'll
thank
see you all next time.
See y'all next month.